was we became familiar with Roblox Studio, built a little Floor is Made lab game, and yeah, what we'll be doing this week is we will be actually doing some coding. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to walk you through some of the things I've done here, and then I'm going to show you how I did them using the code. Sorry about the mess. This is sort of my lesson lab. This is not a game. This is just where I show off sort of concepts to students, and then we use those in bigger projects that are games that students put together themselves. Right, on that bombshell, I'm just going to play this, and I'm going to talk about some of the things that we're going to be building today. So let's play. Okay, so probably see a few differences here since I've been running the code. So the first thing is this thing right here. So let's click on the question mark. The red ones are fake. So these are nice little guides that players can put in the game that will add instructions to the players. What a lot of students do is they like to use two of these at the same time, and one tells the truth, one tells the lie. So let's just walk through this. So the red ones are fake, which means that we can fall through the red ones, and I've died now. So I'm just going to go through that again. And let's see if I don't fall through now. So as you can see, the colors are very different now. So we can walk on the green, we can't walk on the red ones. And here we have another question mark. Let's see what's stay in my sight. So with this one, I'm just going to tell you what this one is. I made an invisible bridge between these two lines here. And the goal was to sort of stay in the middle of this. So you had to walk through very carefully or you'd fall off. But just for demonstration purposes, it was quite hard to get on. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, that's what we're going to be building out today. There are some extension activities with this, but we'll go through that later. Now, for those of you who are watching quite carefully, you can probably tell that the first bridge is made up of lots of little parts put together, and that's why we can fall through some of them and not others. This one, however, is made up of one single big part that's been scaled, and that's why it's sort of consistent and we can run across it. Right, now let's get to the coding. Now, the challenge with today is to, if you want to change the color, if you want to change any of the properties, you have to do that with the coding. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do now. So click on the part that you want to change, that you want to edit, that you want to add something to. Please, I'll just get rid of that so I can show you from scratch. Please add your script. So click on the plus icon, go down to scripts, get rid of hello world, and we're going to do some coding here. So the first thing that we need to do is right here on the right hand side with the properties. This is all the information about that part that you are so with the color, the material, the can collide, the anchor, the transparency, all that good stuff. Now, the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a variable to store all this. Now, a variable is essentially like a memory card, and all it does is it stores information. So the very first thing that we need to do before we can change anything is we need to create a variable that holds all this information about this part that we're going to be changing. So to do this, we need a keyword first, and that keyword is local. Now, what local does is it keeps it inside this script, this particular one. It means we cannot use this in any other scripts, the variable that we're creating. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, why would I want to do that? Can't I create a variable in here, then use it in the other parts of my code? Well, you could, but that is then going to cause you problems very quickly. What the local keyword does is it stops the sort of wires being crossed. You will find your life so much easier if you use the local keyword. And in fact, we're going to be using this at every variable that we create. Do not create any global variables. Variables we can use everywhere else. It makes it so much harder to debug. Right, so we need the local keyword. The next thing that we need to do is we need to name the variable or name the memory card where this information is being stored. Now, you how you should name this is you should always name your variables with what they are doing. So if you're making a bridge, then call it bridge. If you're making a button, then call it button. Name your part with what it is doing. So I'm just going to call this bridge, because the challenge that you guys are going to be having is you guys are going to be adding to your existing project and like making some bridges where people can do things. So I've got the name here. And the next thing that we need is we need an equal sign. We need a math symbol. Now this math symbol is the equal sign. And what this means in coding is a. So translated into English, what this means is in this local script, create a memory card called bridge that is a, and then we're going to say what the bridge is. So what we want to do is right now we are in our script file here, the one that's highlighted in blue in the Explorer on the right hand side. We want to go up into our parts that we create, where our script is living inside. So this part is called test. So what I need to do is I need to make a pathway from my script to my test here. And how I do that is I write the name of the file or the type of file I'm currently writing in. So I say scripts. And then to make a pathway between two things in Lua, what I'd have to do is I'd have to do a dot. So what goes in the end of a sentence, like a dot here. And then Lua is really good at like recommending things to you and helping you out. The next thing that we want to say is parents. Now the reason why we're going to say parents is because of this here. Do you see in your Explorer, in your part, the little triangle here? If you click on the triangle, it shows you what is inside this part here. So for example, here we just have a script. Now, the parent, sorry, I'll start from the beginning. Anything on the inside, like the script file, is the children. Anything on the outside that is holding the children is the parent. So children are being held, and parent is the one that's holding the children. That's just how I like to remember it. But what that will essentially do is that will say connect to whatever is your parent. So go to your parent and grab all the information here. And this will then get all the properties. So the color, the material, everything inside here is now stored inside this variable called bridge. Okay. So congratulations, you got your first variable. What we now want to do is we want to do a few things. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is change the color. Now you'll find it a bit easier if you keep your properties open, because you're going to be using everything on the left hand side here, because these are the titles. Now, the first thing that you're going to have to do is please, where are you storing this? So where are you storing all this information? What is the name of the variable that you just created? So mine is called bridge. So I'm going to write bridge. And then I need to make a pathway to the title that I want inside this properties, because all these properties are stored inside this bridge here. So same thing what we did here. We need to make a dot. And then we want, and Lou is recommending it to us, that's very nice. We want to connect it to the title of what we want to change. And in this case, it would be color. Good. Quick one. If you start typing something and Lua doesn't recommend something to you, there's a really high chance that you've spelt something wrong. So please use Lua's recommendations. It makes your life so much easier. Now the next thing that we need to do is same thing that we've done above. We need to say is a. So bridge.color is a, and then we're going to change the color. Now there's a few different ways of changing the color here, but we are going to use the RGB numbers. So these are three numbers here. So, and these three numbers are R, G, and B, red, green, and blue. They start from 0 and they go up to 255. So in this case, it's red, so it's 255, 0, 0, which means that this will be very, very red, as it's really red here. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to tell Lua how we are changing the color here. So we're going to say, dear computer, please change this using the 3 colors. So we want to say color 3, okay? Now, again, there's a few different ways that we can do this, so we need to get a little bit more specific. So, dear computer, please use 3 colors, do a dot, and then from RGB. and this will then allow you to choose the color that you want. Now you could type the colors manually, but I think it's a bit easier just to click on the color wheel here, and then you can manually sort of select it here. So I'm just going to go with, let's go with green. Yeah, that'll do. And now, as you can see, the numbers have changed, and that is our color green. So let us test this, because testing is going to be really important with this. Please test it on a regular basis. You'll find it a lot easier to see where it's gone wrong. So I'm going to click run, and this should now be green. And it's green. Good job. Right, now let us do a few more things here. So first of all, let's change the transparency. So transparency is making it visible or invisible. So again, we do the same thing. Where are we storing all this information? Where are we storing all the properties? Well, we're storing it in the bridge variable, the bridge memory card. So bridge, and Lou's recommending it to us because it's there. And this is sort of your challenge here. Anything inside the properties, you can change in the code, and that is your challenge. So don't do any manual changing here. Make sure you're going in, you're selecting the title, and then you're changing it. So we want to go to transparency. So because I don't know what transparency is, I'm going to click on filter here, and I'm going to write TR, and that will bring up transparency. So we're going to have bridge dot transparency equals. So bridge dot transparency is now. What did you put in transparency? And this is why it's so useful to have properties open. You can experiment with this, with the values, just to see what kind of things you need to put in. So it looks like transparency starts at 0, but then the highest it can go to is 1. So 0 is completely visible, and 1 is completely invisible. So I want to do this as like 0.5, and I'm going to do this in the code here. So 0.5. Let us run that again. Is that working? Yes, that's working. Good job. Right, now the last thing I'm going to do here is, before I sort of leave you to it for a bit, if I know, I'll show you, I'll show you 2 more things here. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to walk through something, how to fall through something, and there's lots of different things you can do with this. So this is going from the can collide. Now, this bit here, the collision. So as you can see, we want can collide, but this one's a tick. So this one's either on or off. It's either going to be true when it's ticked or false when it's not ticked. So we want to say bridge, then go to the title that we want. So dot can collide is and then false, like that. Okay. Now let's test this by actually playing this and see if we can walk through this. Brilliant. Good job. That's it. Right. So what I will do now is, that is the basic overview of the class. The next video, what you'll find is the bonus activity, which is us making one of these things, the guides and things like that. But your challenge now is to see if you can add things to your game that you made last week, but your challenge is to only use the code, so change the properties. Scaling, that's fine. So get it looking how you want first. Anything to do with the color and the functionality, like the transparency, the can collide, the anchor, you have to use that. You have to go into the script and you have to use the code for it. This will then get you into the habit of being able to create really important parts, and then will help you in the upcoming lessons. Okay, so no cheating. Right, then I will end it there, and we will go to the next one.